Harnessing Human Capital, How Strategic HR Drives Competitive Advantage Abstract. The article explores the evolution of HR leadership from an administrative function to a strategic business partner that is indispensable to organizational success. It examines how strategic human resource management, SHRM, views people as the primary source of sustainable competitive advantage, and highlights extensive research confirming that strategic and aligned HR practices drive key outcomes like employee engagement, productivity, innovation, and financial performance. The article outlines 3 core responsibilities for HR to function as a true strategic partner: aligning HR strategies with business goals, creating a high-performance culture, and developing strategic workforce capabilities. It provides practical recommendations for HR leaders to execute on these responsibilities, such as attending executive meetings, embedding culture into people processes, and using capability audits to identify and address future skill needs. By partnering with the C-suite and strategically optimizing human capital, the article argues that HR can position the organization for consistent competitive advantage through its greatest asset, its people. HR leadership has evolved drastically over the last few decades. What was once viewed primarily as an administrative function is now rightly seen as a strategic business partner indispensable to organizational success. A wealth of research highlights how aligned and strategic HR practices increase employee engagement, productivity, innovation, and ultimately the bottom line. Today, we will explore the pivotal role HR leadership now plays and provides practical recommendations for how HR can partner most effectively with other leaders to create sustainable competitive advantage. The evolution of strategic HR research in the 1980s and 90s first brought recognition that HR is about much more than transactions and paperwork. Pioneering thinkers like Ulrich, 1997, established HR as a strategic partner responsible for organizational capabilities like culture, talent, and change management. Since then, the concept of strategic human resource management, SHRM, has taken hold. SHRM views people as the primary source of sustainable competitive advantage and sees our role as designing and implementing practices that maximize employee contribution. Wright and McMahon, 1992. A wealth of empirical evidence now confirms that strategic and aligned HR practices do in fact increase key organizational outcomes. For example, a meta-analysis by Combs et al. 2006 found HR practices focused on employee skills, motivation, and empowerment had a strong positive relationship with financial performance. Similarly, a review by Jiang et al. 2012 showed SHRM practices enhanced employee productivity, satisfaction, and commitment. And research by Chadwick, 2017, indicated SHRM aligned business and HR strategies to innovation capacity. These findings reflect the evolving view that people are the ultimate drivers of organizational performance. As such, strategic HR leadership is core to business success. HR must partner strategically at the senior level to ensure employee contribution is optimized. Strategic HR as a business partner. For HR to function as a true strategic partner, certain criteria must be met. Research and practice highlight 3 core responsibilities for HR in this pivotal leadership role: align HR strategies with business goals. Strategic HR begins with goals and strategies tightly aligned with overall business objectives. Truss et al. 2013 found aligned HR practices had the strongest relationship to performance outcomes. HR leaders must understand organizational strategy intimately to design HR systems supporting strategic priorities. They collaborate with C-suite peers to ensure HR strategies are fully synchronized with the business. Ulrich and Julebone, 2015. Create a high-performance culture. A supportive and vibrant organizational culture has consistently proven to drive engagement and performance. As the custodians of culture, HR oversees cultural elements like vision, values, Leadership behaviors and work environment design. Research shows culture strongly shaped by HR practices like selection, development and rewards, Dennison et al. 2014. As a partner, HR guides culture strategically to promote the behaviors essential for success. Develop strategic workforce capabilities. Business goals can only be achieved through a workforce with the right skills, mindsets and experiences. HR partners to ensure capabilities like innovation, collaboration and adaptability are systematically developed, Garavan et al. 2018. This involves integrating talent strategies with succession, learning and performance management, Ulrich et al. 2013. Strategic workforce planning and development optimize human capital for current and future needs. Proper execution of these responsibilities establishes HR as a valuable partner at the strategy table. Research unequivocally shows this level of partnership delivers superior organizational outcomes, Rupp and Cropanzano. 2002. Ulrich et al. 2013. The following sections provide practical advice for HR leaders assuming this pivotal role. Aligning HR strategy with business strategy in practice to align HR strategies fully with business goals in practice. HR leaders can take the following actions: attend all executive leadership meetings. Being in the room ensures HR understands strategic discussions and emerging priorities in real time. Map HR programs against strategic objectives. Analyze how HR initiatives like talent development, performance management and compensation support key strategic goals. Realign where needed. Use language of the business when communicating HR strategies and programs. Emphasize direct connections to revenue, costs, and competitive advantages understood by other leaders. Conduct joint HR business planning sessions. Collaborate with business peers to jointly craft HR strategic plans synchronized with wider objectives and KPIs. Get buy-in to implementation. Provide regular business updates to HR teams. Keep HR informed on business developments so remaining practices stay aligned as strategies evolve over time. For example, after a new CEO's appointment at Google signaled strategic shifts, the HR leader worked closely alongside to align HR strategies around developing an entrepreneurial mindset, redefining careers and focusing on growth opportunities, direct enablers of the refreshed business goals. Constant collaboration ensured HR strategies evolved hand in hand. Developing a high-performance culture in practice to effectively develop and shape culture from a strategic HR perspective. Leaders can define desired culture explicitly, capture aspirational elements like agility, innovation or customer focus in a clear value statement and behaviors framework as cultural North Star. Infuse culture in all people processes, embed values and preferred behaviors into recruitment. Performance reviews, learning pathways and rewards to systematically cultivate culture over time. Use metrics to assess culture strength. Surveying employee perceptions allows measuring cultural enablers like trust, collaboration and work meaning against benchmarks. Identify areas for improvement. Engage managers as culture leaders. Partner line managers are pivotal for bringing values to life daily. Provide culture coaching and hold accountable for cascading to teams. Champion small cultural rituals. Strategically introduce routines like mentoring circles, suggestion programs and team celebrations recognizing behaviors central to cultural aspirations. For instance, Microsoft's HR cultivates a growth mindset by incorporating developmental feedback and continuous learning philosophies into performance goals. Talent profiles and leadership development curricula, systematically nurturing culture from within. Developing strategic workforce capabilities in practice to intentionally build capabilities aligned with business needs. HR leaders can conduct capability audits regularly, assess current and future human capital requirements against the strategic context through workforce planning tools. Design capability pathways, create transparent learning and development journeys for progressing specific skills, attitudes and experiences required as capabilities. Use succession planning strategically. Map current and future leadership needs to prioritize internal mobility and identify any talent skills gaps. Deploy internal mobility programs, strategically rotate people through divisions or roles enhancing exposure to required capabilities. Engage in external talent partnerships, collaborate with universities, industry groups and recruiters to identify and hire those with needed future-focused competencies when capability shortfalls exist internally. For example, Amazon equips employees with the digital, customized consumer experience capabilities critical to its business model through intensive technical and AI-focused training programs, cross-functional rotations and external reskilling partnerships. Conclusion: in today's dynamic business environment, organizational success hinges on strategically optimizing the human factor. Research affirms HR rises up as a key leadership partner when helping articulate desired culture, aligning talent to business strategy and systematically building capabilities. Adopting the recommendations above can help HR assume this pivotal strategic role through tight collaboration with C-suite peers, and intentionally shaping the organizational conditions under which people thrive and contribute optimally. When embedded at the core of strategy formulation and execution, HR positions the organization to consistently outperform competitors through its greatest sustainable asset, its people.